Hello everyone and welcome to a new video on the channel. Today we are looking at the February TBR hopefuls. We're going to play the TBR vending machine game together and hopefully pick out some books that I'm going to be able to use for the readathon that I'm going to take part in. So let's not mess around, let's quickly get into the TBR vending machine rules. This is much like my TBR jar game that I've been playing for the last 2 years. Inside the vending machine are 50 prompts and 10 blank beads, and on each bead there is a prompt attached to them. That's why we have this board here. You will of course have a straight version of it. I will put it on the screen when we get closer to the actual game part, just so you can see what each one represents, but for now we're going to have just this set up. So the rules are that I will hopefully only be pulling the lever 5 times. However, there is a possibility that when I pull it, more than one bead will come out. So I have limited it at 8 prompts total, and inside it's just prompts that will guide my reading. I'm definitely not a mood reader. I like structure, I like things to tick off, and so this is just a game to guide that for me. My best friend also uses it each month, but we don't film her portion of it, just mine. So that's it. We did take away our punishment rule from 2023, and there are a couple of prompts on here that I won't touch, but that's absolutely fine. I'll get into that if it ever comes up. I am hopeful that the machine is ready for us to go, so let's pull our first prompt. And we have, what have we got? Number 46. And that is a place new to you. Next prompt. Oh, we're getting lucky. I shouldn't talk too soon. But last time I played this game, I had a lot of trouble with the machine. We have number 3, and that is a romance. Perfect. And we'll close that back up. Oh. The third prompt is, let's see, 14. And that is a physical read. I knew I spoke too soon. 1 second. Technical difficulties mean we just tip it upside down. Our fourth prompt will be number 29. And that is a 𝓲 𝓬𝓮𝓷𝓸, so I have to ask my best friend to pick a read for me. Final one, please. Don't pull 2. Yay, we made it all the way through. I was so nervous about this because I had so many problems in January. Number 15, and that is an audiobook. Wonderful. So I will go and find some books that are going to cover these. So I'm participating in the Battle of the Girl Band's readathon, and I have duplicated the prompts for that as well as the ones that I've just gotten in the vending machine. And for New Place to You, I have also paired that with a book set in Georgia, and my friend had this on her shelf. This is Fallen by Lauren Kate, or Lauren Kate. I've seen the movie to this, so I am a little bit hesitant to read it. I know this was a huge book back in the day. Back in 2010 this was released. So this follows Luce, and she doesn't understand why this guy called Daniel feels like she knows him, and she hasn't even met him before. This is set in a like a boarding school. And why are you making noises? Let me just put that on silent. There we go. And the whole story is actually about angels, being fallen angels. So I know what happens vaguely. I watched the movie many years ago, but because this is set in Georgia, I figured I would use it for the prompts. So the second book I'm going to talk about is Icebreaker by Hannah Grace. I am using this for the romance prompt in the vending machine, and also a book that reminds me of something I've loved. And I chose this book because I really loved From Lukov with Love by Mariana Zapata, and that is based around figure skating, and the female main character in this one is a figure skater. So that's how I have related it. And this is essentially about Anastasia, who has been working her entire life to get onto Team USA, and nothing will stand in her way, and not even the captain of the ice hockey team, Nate Hawkins. And he is trying to keep his team on the ice, but it's really challenging because he's having to share facilities with the ice skating team. And obviously I'm getting, that they're going to hook up that way. This is a romance, everyone's talking about this. I'm pretty sure most people would know about Icebreaker by Hannah Grace by now, but I haven't read it yet. My friend has, and she absolutely loved it. She was like begging me to pick it up in December, and I just didn't have time, so I thought I would do it in February. Next up is The Endless War by Danielle L. Jensen. This is book 4 in the Bridge Kingdom series, and I have this down for audiobook, which is strange because I have a physical copy, but I also have the audiobook on my Audible account, and I also have it for, where are we? Highly anticipated read. So I really love this world. This is book 2 for Keris and Zara. They are my favorite characters. I loved Lara and Aaron in books 1 and 2 as well, but I just love these two even more. And where it left off in the inadequate ear, it's quite a bit of a cliffhanger, and I'm really eager to pick this back up. I'm hopeful that the friend that I mentioned for Icebreaker is ready to pick this up in February. We were supposed to read it this month, but she's been a bit busy, so if not, I'm just going to pick it up. I can't wait any longer. I just really want to read it. And this is I would say it's a romantasy, but I would say it's also a high fantasy sort of world, where the stakes are really high. Obviously Keris is now in a position where he has a lot on his shoulders, and not just because his love has been put into one of the worst violent places on earth. So it'll be really interesting to see how their story continues, and this will be the last book, and then it will move on to the next character, which I already know who it's going to be, and I'm really intrigued to see what subtle hints Jensen will put into this one for the upcoming book. So the next book on the list is This Cursed Light by Emily Thied. This is book 2 in the last 𝓤𝓲𝓷𝓷𝓭, I hope I'm saying that right, series. I absolutely loved This Vicious, what is it called? This Vicious Grace. I gave it 5 stars when I read it, and I wanted to read this last year. It was actually the final book on my 23 books of 2023 that I didn't get to, and I'm getting to it now. So sorry that all the noises are going off in the background. I really want to read this one. It is set 6 months after book 1, and after saving everything in book 1, Alyssa is ready to live happily ever after, but of course that is not the case. There is another character who means a lot to her and is haunted by what happened, and is struggling to cope with what happened, and so they are going to go on another journey to find out how to work to get his powers back. I think that is pretty much the synopsis. Now, I have heard mixed reviews about this, which I'm really sad about because I absolutely loved book 1. Waited so long for this one, but I have heard that this one lets it down. So that is another reason why I haven't pushed myself to read it. But I'm going to give it a go and see, with my own opinion, what I think the book is about. So This one I'm covering for physical read because that's the only way I can get my hands on it, and also a title that has the word this in it. Do you guys get really sick of seeing this book on my TBRs? I had this book on my TBR for 2023 so many times that I don't even have to look up on Goodreads what the synopsis is about. So this is the retelling of 𝓤𝓲𝓬𝓿. This is a Korean legend about a girl who is sacrificed to the sea, and she's supposed to be the most beautiful girl to appease the gods below, the water gods. And each year the village hands over someone to appease the gods. And in this case the story is actually told about 𝓚, and she is the sister of someone who I think, yeah, the most beautiful girl that was meant to be thrown in is actually her brother's love. So she sacrifices herself instead and gets swept away to the spirit realm. I keep putting this off. I don't know why. Again, I think it's because I've heard mixed results about it, mixed reviews and stuff. But I just want to get it done. And this is actually going to be covering a prompt that's not on my vending machine. It is for the readathon only, and that is for an author that is fitting of the BIPOC rep. And so because Axie O is Korean, I am going to use her for this prompt, and hopefully this February I will finally tick this book off my list. It's one of the books I haven't read on my physical TBR, so really want to get through that as quickly as I can, because honestly this book has been waiting over a year to be read, and I can't just keep it because the cover's pretty. It is pretty though. So next up is The Invisible Life of 𝓤𝓲𝓷𝓷 by 𝓤𝓲𝓷𝓷. I hope I'm saying that right. This is a historical romance or a historical fiction, and it's also got some magical realism in it. This is about 𝓤𝓲𝓷𝓷, and it's about her journey over centuries and continents, and as a young woman who learns how far she can leave her mark on the world. How far she can go to leave her mark on the world. Everything changes when, nearly after 300 years, Addie stumbles across a young man in a hidden bookstore and he remembers her name. I have no other idea about what this is about, except for everyone I know has read it and has pretty big opinions about it, so I just want to give it a go. I do have it as an audiobook. This is actually my best friend's copy that I've got for the video's sake, and I am ticking off a book that starts with T. I know that the is often left out when you do that, but in this case I'm going to use it. It starts with a T for me, so that is why I'm picking this up. It's also in my library, in my Libby account right now, so I'm going to read it, so might as well use it. And then we have 2, maybe 3 more books to go, I think, because this readathon does have 10 prompts. So the next one up is Tools of Engagement, and I am using this for a book that you have considered to get rid of, and I did have this in my pile to unhaul, and then decided that I would give it a go because I know a lot of people who like it. And this is part of a series. I think it's the 𝓞𝓲𝓷𝓿 series by Tessa Bailey. It is book 3. And it follows Bethany and Wes, and this is about how Bethany loves everything to do with like style, so she loves hair and makeup, clothing and decor, and I think she ends up on a TV show for how she can do the best renovation, and she ends up working with Wes Daniels, who's the new guy in town. That's all I know. I did try this series. I tried to read book number 1, absolutely hated it, DNF'd it very quickly. Tessa Bailey is a author for me that I love and hate. Yeah, I don't enjoy all of their books because I think that they aren't realistic enough, and I am more towards emotional connection through my romances than let's have Insta and go at it. So yeah, I'm not her biggest audience base, but I have heard really good things about this book, so I'm going to give it a go. And if I don't like it, I can DNF it, and then I can unhaul it like I planned to. We'll just have to wait and see how that goes. And I think that's all for the physical books. The other ones I have on the list are the final book for the Sem shall pick. My best friend looked through my Libby account and she picked Curvy Girls Can't Date Quarterbacks. I have no idea who that's by. Let me just check. Curvy. It's by Kelsey Stouting. It is book 1 in the Curvy Girls Club, and she also has PCOS, which is a condition I have, so that is why I wanted to read this. I have a feeling that it's not going to be the greatest read, but it's still going to be like okay to read, if that makes sense. She basically hates the fact that people won't shut up about her weight, even though she's got this condition that makes her gain weight, and she wants to prove to the haters that even curvy girls can get the hot guy. So she hopes that she can get the attention of the school's quarterback to take her to homecoming. But at this point at the start of the book, he doesn't even know that she exists. So I'm using that for the pick because it's what my best friend picked off my Libby, and then I'm also going to use it for the romance prompt on the readathon. Another book that I'm going to do for the readathon, and it is one that has to have a doctor in it. I have chosen The Fake Mate by Lana Ferguson. I've heard a few good reviews about this one, and it is actually a wolf shifter romance, and it's about how Mackenzie is very bad at dating, and she's had no success in dating recently, and her grandmother's obsession with finding the perfect mate and to settle down is threatening her to go insane, and she ends up making a fake relationship with Noah Taylor, who is also another fellow doctor, who is also known as a grump, and he is left to come out of a board meeting and risk his career or find himself a mate, and they obviously fake date. So I like fake dating. I'm hopeful that I'll like this. I'm not huge on wolf shifters, so we'll see how it goes. But when I thought of the prompt, as soon as I heard the word doctor, I knew that I wanted to do this one. So let's hope it is as good as my friends have told me. And I think we've covered, oh no, we've got one more. The other prompt is a book by an author you disliked, another book of theirs. So I disliked Shadow Me by 𝓤𝓗, but I did enjoy book 1 of, what is it called? The Woven Kingdom. And so I've decided that I'll read book 2 in it, These Infinite Threads, I think it's called. Yeah, it's gonna follow up from where we left off. This is about a djinn and a kingdom that is struggling to keep power, and it follows a few different characters, and at the end of book 1 another character was introduced, so I think he is going to play a bigger role in the second one, but it is going to be following I can't even remember her name. I think it's Eliza. So yeah, I really don't want to give away book 1, but there is a romance that I wasn't really, like, it didn't feel believable to me in book 1. I didn't, like, root for it, between the main character and the heir to the human throne. And in this one, she's been swept away by another character who feels like he's given her the deal by the devil, and she is swept away to his kingdom, I believe, and she's trying to figure out how to deal with all the knowledge that she now has that comes out of book 1. I'm trying to be really vague here, because obviously everything about book 2 synopsis is a complete and utter spoiler for book 1. Yeah, I just want to read this. I want to see if I if the book one was just a fluke, or if it was just that I didn't like her dystopian series, but I do like this high fantasy one instead. So we will just see how we get on with that. The final book that I'm going to add on to this is the ultimate buddy read for the readathon, and it is A Fire Endless by Rebecca Ross, which is book 2 of the Elements of Cadence duology. I have read the first book in this series, and that's actually the original, or like the official buddy read book for the readathon. However, because I've read it, I'm allowed to go ahead and read book 2 by in the same world. And so this follows on from where we left off with the Tamerlanes and the Breckons in this world. I really enjoyed this one. The prose is beautiful, and I really love the way Rebecca Ross wrote this world. And obviously things have changed. Again, I don't want to give away what happens in book 1 and the conclusions and stuff, but essentially the people that we're following are now doing different things that they weren't expecting to at the beginning of book 1, and struggling to make their way to each other or make their way through obstacles that have come out. And I'm really excited to see how this goes, because there's 4 main characters that we follow, and I want to know how that works out for them in the second book. So hopefully I can get a copy of it. The library I've put hold on both the audiobook and the ebook. It looks like I'll get the ebook first, but if I can't get to it, I can't get to it. There are 10 prompts on this readathon as it is, and then there's a buddy read. And I don't think I'm going to get to all 10, so even though I've listed them out today, what I want to read for those prompts, if I don't get to them, I don't get to them. But for the reading, the vending machine, I'm definitely going to be reading those 5 books, and hopefully they will be a decent read. Currently, as I sit here and talk about books, I have finished 21 books already for January, and that number is significantly higher because a lot of them have been novellas. I did the entire Improbable Meet Cute novella series by a whole bunch of romance authors that just came out, and there were 6 in that, and I think I've read like 9 different novellas as well, so that number is definitely a lot higher. But I'm pretty impressed with how much I've managed to get read so far. So that is hopefully all the hopefuls for February. Again, 29 days is not enough room to do all of these books, but I'm hopeful that I can get really stuck in, and a lot of them I will try and get like as audiobooks so I can listen to them in the background of my days, because I'm going to be quite busy. So fingers crossed that this isn't too ambitious. I did find when I did this person's readathon last year that it was chaotic, and I managed to complete so many more books than I ever expected to. So maybe with that pressure, this will be achievable. I'm not sure. I'm just going to go into it with these plans in place, and then if I don't read all the books, that's absolutely okay. But I will keep you updated. And I'm so sorry that there hasn't been a mid-month reading update for January. Like I mentioned in a couple of other videos, I have just been so behind in catching up. The start of the year just wasn't a great start for me and my family, so just trying to catch up has been really challenging, but I'm hopeful that I can do a brief rundown of all the books I read over January. Yeah, me and brief isn't a great one, but we'll try. And I will hopefully be back to doing mid-month and end-of-month reading updates to break that down so I'm not jabbering on for too long. But thank you so much for spending some time with me today. I hope that you are all well, and until I see you in my next videos, I hope that you have fun reading, and I will catch you soon. Bye everyone.